There's another measure we've talked a little bit about, and it has to do with Eunice, up in Eunice and Eunice Police. Really needing to kind of make that advancement to better recruit, to retain. I mean, it all kind of plays into it.
Yeah. Everybody, when they do a job, they want the most that they can get pay-wise. And, some things, you may love your town and you may love serving your town, but, sometimes if the pay is better in another town, it sure looks kind of lucrative. So we are joined by Eunice Police Chief Randy Fontenot, joining Rob and I on the line this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
So we wanted to talk with you a little bit about the issue of pay coming up at the council meeting a little bit earlier this week and kind of get your thoughts on it, sir.
Well, I think it's something that's long overdue. We've had times in the past where in the last 20 years or so, a couple of times where the council attempted to pass a property tax to increase the pay for our police department. That failed both times, so now they're trying the sales tax, and it seems like we're getting a lot more positive feedback on the sales tax proposition. So the council is asking the state to put on the up for election in May to increase the sales tax for the city of Eunice 0.25%, and we think that would generate enough funds to give the police department a much-needed increase in their starting pay. And also the fire department would benefit from this, and they'd be receiving an increase in pay as well. And we need to do that to retain our officers that we currently have and to fill the holes that we have, because we have some openings in the police department that we can't fill because the pay is so low. We're not attracting any applicants. We don't have a qualified applicant that we can use to fill the vacancies that we have now.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that this would be able to do that. We did a survey, and we're one of the lowest paid departments in the area.
Ooh, okay. Talk to us about
that. I'd love to get up there with Karen Crow. Karen Crow's doing real good. They keep increasing their pay. We have officers that live in Eunice that work in Karen Crow and making a lot more money, and that's a problem we have. We train them,
and then they go somewhere else
to go to other departments.
So what do y'all pay those starting officers?
The starting pay for a police officer is $9.75 an hour. Now that's for our police officers. Now we have our jailers and our records clerks. Their starting pay is just $8.50 an hour. But for a police officer, $9.75 an hour. We're asking, and if this passes, I think we're going to be able to do a significant increase in the starting pay to put us comparable or a lot closer to the other departments around us. Now I don't think we're still not going to come close to matching the Lafayette area, but be a lot closer to what we are surrounding cities.
Does it have a lot to do with the growth? Obviously, we have seen Karen Crow Karen Crow's not the same place it was 5 years ago.
True.
But we're not seeing that level of growth so much in Eunice. Do you think that might be the pushback?
Right. It could be, because without the growth, it keeps our sales tax revenues down. Property taxes are still down. The city is not growing. So obviously, if the city were growing, we'd probably increase our revenues and we'd be able to do something a little bit better. But that's been a problem. Eunice has basically been on the decline instead of growing like the Lafayette area.
Yeah.
So I find it interesting that you asked for 0.25%, because that's it's not huge, right? I mean, it's not huge, but you're saying you guys can make it work.
0.25%, actually, if you go to the grocery store and spend $100, it's going to cost you an extra 25 cents. I go with my grandkids. They got them vending machines up at the front at the checkout.
Yeah.
For each grandkid, that's 50 cents, regardless of how much I spend in the grocery store. So we're just asking for 25 cents for every $100.
And it's hard because
it's not a whole lot of money.
It's not. So $9.75 is the starting pay for your patrol guys, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, what about the other? As you were kind of mentioning, some of the other areas that are like y'all in population and size. What are they paying folks?
Well, what I'm looking at, say Iota Police Department, which is a much smaller town than Eunice, their starting pay is $12.23 an hour.
Whoa.
That's
Jennings
a big
is $11.25. Opelousas is $11.45. Basile, which is smaller than Eunice, they're $10 an hour to start. which is a little bit more than Eunice.
Right.
Wow. And then you look at Karen Crow, and the figure I have is $18.50 an hour for Karen Crow. Jump.
Right? Yeah, I mean, look, this is the reality. These are the numbers. You have got to be able to keep up to keep these officers. And like you said, it also costs taxpayers in the long run, too, because you guys are training these officers with a group of people who do the training who are some of the best in the state of Louisiana. And then these officers have all this training, and then they'll go to another department.
Right. And you know how much, if I can get a post-certified trained police officer to come here, I'd jump on that in a heartbeat if they've got
I bet.
Because the money we're saving and the time that we're saving, because it takes us 6 months to train an officer just to get them trained to where we can kind of put them out there and get them some more on-the-job training.
Absolutely.
So it's expensive. And then because we're shorthanded, we're having to spend a lot more money in overtime to keep the services going. So we're spending the money in overtime. So it's time to, hopefully that'll save us some money with that, too. If we can fill these vacancies, we won't have to spend so much on overtime as well.
Yeah, so it sounds like y'all are doing the best with what you got, hoping for a little bit more.
Right.
You're going to have to keep up with the areas around you. Now, what I thought was interesting about the story that we had and shared with our listeners, a lot of people did go to that meeting the other night. But
people are engaged.
People are very engaged in the process. But I found it also interesting that there was not anyone that voiced any opposition.
That's right. We were ready to we had someone that was going to speak in support of it, but nobody came out in opposition of it. So we just let it go, and the council voted unanimously to put this forward. So that's we're very happy with that.
Well, you can't do without. I mean, I'm sure as the chief, in your mind, no, you can't do without law enforcement. I mean, you can't deal with it if everyone just decides to not work there. So it's kind of like getting out ahead of it.
It's vital. Sounds like.
Yeah, we have to have it, because if this increase doesn't pass and we're not able to come up with a substantial increase in pay for our officers, we're going to end up losing some good trained officers. And at this point, we don't have any applicants to replace them and fill the vacancies we currently have. Our police department everybody's going to suffer, because we can't keep working all this overtime either. Our officers are going to get exhausted, and you exhaust these officers, they're not going to perform as well. There's safety issues with that. Plus, the service is going to decline. And we pride ourselves on the service that our community receives from our police department. We have a good police department. We have a lot of good officers out there, and they're dedicated if they're going to stay for this pay, knowing that they can go to another department and make $3 or $4 an hour more just to jump in.
Oh, yeah.
We have a lot of good, dedicated officers that really care about the community, and they want to be in Eunice. They want to stay here.
Well, we've been speaking with Eunice Police Chief Randy Fontenot. Sir, thank you for your time this morning. We're going to keep up on the issue. Obviously, it's not too far down the line that citizens will get their chance to voice stuff. And Rob? I just do think it's worth noting a quick, doodle of math. A $3 difference, is around $6,200 a year. Oh, no wonder. Yeah, I mean, come on. That's again the math.
That's a huge difference. I mean, it's a huge difference in starting.
Yeah, you guys have to be able to be competitive. Well, sir, thank you for your time this morning. We do appreciate it.
Well, thank you for allowing me to get this information out there. We do appreciate that.
All right, sir. You take care. Have a good weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and police departments all across Acadiana, all across the state of Louisiana, they face this on a constant basis.
That's it.
And it's hard. Lafayette will have the same situation. They do this wonderful training. Okay, they get these people post-certified, right? So as taxpayers, we've put our money into that. We've put our resources into it. And then if the pay is not competitive, then obviously people are going to be attracted to other areas. So interesting food for thought, and voters will go to the polls in May, and they'll decide.
Chief Randy Fontenot and Eunice, we will continue to cover the story and see where that ends up. It's 8:22 now at News Talk 96.5 KPEL.